discussion? Discussion? Before I cast my vote, I'd like to honor a request from the body here, and that is to hear about why I'm going to vote the way I'm going to vote. And I want to respond to you. I want you to know that I respect you as one of my community members. And we don't have... You can't hear me? No. I'm going to do something a little different. And this is only because I believe that sometimes this table separates us because we're all part of the same community. So I'm going to step forward here, and hopefully you can hear me.
Tell us why you overpaid the superintendent. Penalized. State aid. Tell us that. Explain that.
I'm listening. I'll hear you.
Yeah,
I'm listening.
explain that.
I was elected to this board in April of 2012, this year. I was disenfranchised. I stood at this mic many times, and I was in disbelief with what was going on. I didn't like the practices. I didn't like the style of communication. I didn't like the way that we as a community interacted with one another. I just couldn't believe it. And I know that there's still work to be done there. But I felt that I needed to get on this board to make a change. My children, my 3 kids are in this school district, and I care. My block, where my family resides, the block that I'm in, there is no male figure in that block for the kids in our block. So I engage, not as a board member, but as a parent and as someone who cares. So I chose to be here. And I chose to take whatever comes my way from the community, but I'm going to explain myself. I didn't want to believe what I was hearing regarding the outsourcing, regarding the budget. I didn't listen to some of my board members. I didn't want to hear them. They will tell you. I locked up with a couple of them and said, I don't want to hear it from you. I want to hear it from the district superintendent, and I want to hear it from the BA. They will tell you that. So I set out to find out the facts on my own because I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and I didn't have a piece of paper to show me what I was being told. And you heard it. There are members of this board that spoke with the BA and with the auditor. Yes, I sat with the BA, I sat with the attorney, I sat with the auditor because I didn't believe it. And there was nothing on a piece of paper that showed me this gap that, as one of you referenced, was a moving target. Mr. Danzig, you said that. It was a moving target. Like to show me a moving target. I didn't believe it. But I will tell you this. After sitting with the attorney, after sitting with the auditor, and after sitting with the BA, and being a chief financial officer for a corporation and having done it on the for-profit and not-for-profit side, here's what I came to understand. That we have a gap. A gap that wasn't clear to all of us. On paper, the budget that was submitted, and by the way, this is my calculation. This is not what this board is presenting. This is my calculation, so I don't want this to be represented as the official comments of the board. On paper, I saw a budget that showed a $2.6 million gap, but then I also knew that that budget required cuts that had not occurred yet, which was another $2 million. What does that tell you? $4.6 million gap. 4.6. This September. I was told that if we didn't take action, we as a board wouldn't be able to meet here in September to certify our results. I couldn't believe it. That didn't make sense. I just heard this a few weeks ago. That didn't make sense. I felt like that was an emotional ploy to me. Didn't make sense. And I checked it. And here's what I learned. It's not September, it's November. If we don't take action, November is when we certify September's results. And we won't be able to certify the results. We won't be able to meet. So now I got it. And not only is it $4.6 million based on my calculations, I asked for, and I chose to do it myself, to extrapolate these numbers out another year. What's the impact if we don't do anything? Next year, $5.5 to $6.5 million. 10% of this school district's budget. So the increase is going from 4.6 to 5 or 6 million. And if our tax base allows us to only go a cap of 2% or 900,000, the conditions worsen. It is a financial challenge that we are facing today, but was created a long time ago. I'm sorry. I look at you. I bring my kids to school. I'm shaking as I'm standing here because I'm so visibly upset and shaken by this. Miss Yolanda?
Vote no.
You and the people in your classroom, your assistants, you elected me. You said you were going to elect me, and don't outsource. Don't outsource. I'm sorry.
Vote no.
I'm sorry. You're right. It isn't.
You knew you were going to do that anyway.
It isn't. And so all I can say to you is we have a financial gap in this school district, and if we don't act on it, the problems will be worse.
There are cuts that you did not take, you did not even consider.
Now let me go further.
What about the students?
And let me go further.
What about the
And
students?
thank you for indulging me in conversation.
Because of the superintendent.
$4 million every year because of the superintendent.
Talk about the
So may I
sanctions.
offer?
Talk about the
May I
sanctions.
offer?
$4 million.
Talk about the sanctions.
Every year, $4 million because of the superintendent's contract.
May I offer this to you?
Every year. You don't think we know that, right?
So I was further disgusted by the notion that all we talked about was outsourcing.
He wants to be a bully.
All we talked about was outsourcing. Mr. Curitan, we've spoken. Ms. Smith, we've spoken. Mr. Lamb, you've called me. Mr. Matthews, you've called me. Many of you, we have spoken. I was disgusted. So what did I say? I said at my last gathering with this board, I want to see administration freezes first.
Amen.
I want to see central office heads eliminated. I want to see a freeze in salary in non-guide people.
Where is it?
That's my request.
Where is it?
I am fighting for this community. Members of this board are fighting for this community. This is difficult for all of us. I'm sharing this with you because you've not heard all of the facts from certainly my perspective, and I want to offer that to you. I encourage you to continue to come out, and I ask that you engage in conversation. This is not fighting. This is not a fight against one another. This is us fighting together.
It's not going to go down like this.
I don't necessarily agree with the way we do things, but please be patient and work through the changes. It takes time.
People lose their homes.
I wanted to offer my opinion. Thank you.
Even though I'm not working for about 8
Yes,
years, I know that is not fair. Because what I did for all the students